I'm Batman.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I'm a doctor. But probably not the one you expect.
I'm Captain Kirk.
Welcome everyone to a special Geek This Week presentation, and this is the Weird Al Yankovic panel from Pensacon 2020. Weird Al Yankovic, probably one of the greatest musicians in history, known for his ability to parry songs. Some of his hits that you may know: I Want a New Duck, Like a Surgeon, Who's Fat, Party in the CIA, The Jedi Song, and many, many more. So sit back and enjoy this panel as Weird Al Yankovic talks about his career, parrying his songs, and much, much more. Please note, about 13 minutes, 10 seconds into the video, while filming, a presenter who was going around with the mic taking questions was in the frame of the shot of the video for about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So instead of chopping this panel down, I chose instead to put still shots that was taken during this panel in placement of that space. So just a head's warning. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy it, and here we go.
Okay, I heard a few of you that are enjoying it. Is everybody enjoying Pensacon 2020? I'm very glad to hear that. My name is Julio Diaz. I am the marketing director and guest services director for Pensacon. We're thrilled to have you here. We're going to have a great panel. We do have a packed house, so I know there's people still looking for seats. If you've got open seats and you don't mind squeezing in a little, that would be great. Just to get everybody seated, I can see we've opened up the balcony. I think we've still got people filtering in, but we do have to get started because we've got a very busy man who a lot of you have probably already met this weekend, and if you haven't, make sure you go over to Celebrity East. You can meet him and get autographs, get selfies, and get a little chance to talk to this gentleman, but we're going to talk to him here as well. He is a Grammy Award-winning singer, songwriter, comedian. He's done television, he's done movies, he's done books. You guys know him, you love him. Straight out of Linwood, California. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big Pensacon welcome to Weird Al Yankovic! I think they like you. I like you guys too. So, Al, more than 40 years that you've been doing this, you've been entertaining everybody, bringing lots of joy into everyone's lives. When are you going to settle down and put that architecture degree to use?
I'm still waiting to use my my college degree, yeah. So I'll get to my day job one of these days.
When did you know that you were never going back to that?
I was still in college, I think. I was like my junior year in college. I remember it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was on some kind of all-night assignment for a project that I was due in the morning. And I remember thinking to myself, should I finish this project or should I just jump out of the window? And I thought, that's not a good sign. Maybe this isn't my life's path. And I didn't know at that point that I'd be like Weird Al for a living, but I thought, I don't think I'm going to be an architect. You know, it's not my passion.
So, obviously, Dr. Demento is where you got your start and had a huge impact. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is a few decades before social media and YouTube, so like if you had a kooky song in the late 70s, you couldn't just upload it to the internet and have people see it. Dr. Demento was, as far as I know, literally the only person that would play unsolicited homemade recordings, and I sent in some stuff that I recorded in my bedroom with my accordion on a 39-cent compact cassette, and it was a horrible song, badly recorded, and Dr. Milo just listened to this song and thought, here's a teenage kid playing the accordion, somehow thinking he's cool. And he thought that by itself was just novel enough for him to play my song on the radio. He said, if I was playing the guitar, he wouldn't have given it a second notice, but he thought, oh, accordion, let's see what's going on here.
So, and that song was an original song. I think a lot of people have this misconception that you only do parodies, but of course you do a great number of original songs. When did you hit on, hey, I'm going to do my try at a parody?
Well, that was even earlier. I mean, I think every 8-year-old kid in the world makes fun of the songs on the radio and changes the words around to amuse their friends, and that was me, and from a very young age. In fact, the first parodies that I ever sent Dr. Milo, he's since thrown away, but they were really, really bad. They were the kind of things a 12, 13-year-old would think was hilarious, but very few other people would. But yeah, he gave me exposure way back before he probably even should have.
And now you mentioned social media now and how that has changed things. Now YouTube has kind of really revolutionized that whole thing. You see lots of people, I'm sure you've seen lots of people doing your material on YouTube. How do you feel about that?
That's always very flattering. I mean, I've seen a lot of fans doing cover versions of my songs or doing parodies of my original songs, and that's always really fun to see people like taking what I've done and then just running with it.
Now, I'm going to steal a question from Jared over there who hit me up with this before the show, but it's a great question. Your film, UHF, in a lot of ways kind of prefigured YouTube. Talk a little, I mean, like, what that film did is kind of what YouTube is.
Yeah, there have been a couple of think pieces written that UHF was sort of a precursor or godfather to YouTube. I don't know if I could really draw the lines that easily. I mean, I guess there's a case to be made for it. But yeah, I was thinking that a lot of the things in UHF seemed like they were custom made for the social media age, because the whole movie, as you know, the gestalt of it is a little uneven, but there's like little funny bits. There's like little, you know, social media size like bits that you can pull out of the movie and enjoy on their own, which is like a lot of what YouTube is.
Now, how has that changed the way you approach your career?
How does what?
The social media and YouTube revolution, how has that changed how you approach your career?
Well, it's made my job more challenging in a way, because now there's no barriers in that, like, you know, I used to be the only game in town because I had a record deal and YouTube didn't exist, and now anytime there's a hit song, there's immediately 10,000 parodies on the internet. So it's just meant that I can't really go for the low-hanging fruit. I can't go for the most obvious idea anymore, because a million other people will have had that idea too, so I have to think a little outside the box.
I know a lot of you out there in the crowd have questions, so I don't want to take a lot of time with my questions. We'll start taking questions from the audience. Where are we going to start? We'll go with Christina. Christina, go ahead.
Hi, so over here, yeah. I have a serious question or a silly question. Which one would you like?
Oh gosh. Silly, I guess?
Would you ever get in a rap battle with Eminem?
Would I ever be in a rap battle with Eminem?
Yeah.
No. The thing is, I don't freestyle. I'm not that good. Not that I can't do improv, but I'm not that great at it. And I do my best writing, you know, if I've got a couple of weeks to work on something. So off the top of my head, I would be easy pickings for Eminem.
Now, you say it usually takes you a couple of weeks, but I know from a previous interview I did with you, you wrote The Saga Begins much quicker than that, because you had a very compact period of time to get that out.
I don't remember how long I actually spent. No, it probably took me a while, because it took me a while to even just do research on that song. Because I wrote The Saga Begins before episode 1 ever came out. That was written entirely based on internet rumors at the time, for real. So it took me a while to kind of like glean exactly what was going on in the movie, kind of piece it together. And then, yeah, so I don't know where you heard that I wrote that quickly, but that was a bit of a process to get that song figured out.
We'll take the question from this side. Why'd you write Albuquerque?
Actually, I wrote it to be annoying. But for real, I mean, it was, I thought, okay, it'll be the last song of the album, and I'll make it so long that nobody will ever want to listen to it more than once. You know, it'll just be the end of the album, like, oh, I got through that song, I never have have to hear that again. And then meanwhile, it's become one of my most popular songs I've ever done. So I've been doing it on tour, and it just amazes me that people will like sit through that whole thing willingly.
We'll take one from this side.
Kind of going off of that one, how did you come up with like Albuquerque or Jackson Park Express, like those really long ones?
How do I come up with it?
Yeah, like, is that just a stream of consciousness?
Kind of. I mean, I keep notes. I used to have like a 3-ring notebook like I had in high school with the plastic dividers, and now we do it on my laptop. But I mean, I accumulate ideas, and I kind of, and for Albuquerque, I just wrote down all my ideas, and usually I will, consolidate them and make them, put them in a more manageable, shorter format. And with Albuquerque, I just said, no, I'm going to just use all my ideas. Just strung them all together and did that, and it kind of worked, I guess. But that's not how I usually do it.
We'll take one on this side, please.
So if you ever do your last 2 tours again, we hope that you make Pensacola one of your stops because we really missed you. Very small, silly question. Have you ever considered making Nature Trail to Hell part of the Encore?
Well, we did Nature Trail to Hell as part of the Vanity tour a couple years ago. It hasn't been the Encore. I guess it could be. I guess we didn't do the Vanity tour in Florida at all, which is like, I have no control over where I play. People got mad at me, like, whenever I don't play their city, and it's all based on the promoters and agents and what kind of deals they make. I just, when the bus stops, I get off and I do a show. That's about all the control I have over it. So hopefully, next time we might be doing a Vanity tour again at some point in the future, and if so, I hope we get to come through here. But we'll see. Yeah.
For anyone that doesn't know, the Vanity tour that he's mentioning, you played a lot of your original material and not so much of the parodies. And then you've done, since then, the Touring with Strings tour where you played with the symphony. What did you enjoy about doing those 2 tours?
They were just so different. I mean, the Vanity tour was the most scaled down, no frills tour we've ever done. Literally as simple as we could possibly make it. And then the Strings Attached tour was kind of the other direction, where every show was with like a 41 to 71 piece symphony orchestra. So I just liked going to extremes. And just kind of playing with it and just seeing how I can make it different each time so people don't get bored of just saying the same show over and over.
Let's take one on this side, please. Hi.
Hello. My question is, how did you come up with your ideas for the parody, and what was it like getting the rights and stuff?
For which parody?
For any of them.
Oh, well,
Can you just summarize your entire career?
yeah. I just listen to the voices in my head, and I try to ignore the ones telling me to kill, and just focus on the ones helping me write the parodies.
Let's take one on this side, please. Have the endurance coming up the back there.
Hi, Al. So now I read somewhere that I talked to you the other day. You're done with your albums, but I read somewhere that you had like a list of album ideas for what you're going to title your album that were rejected or you didn't use. Can you share any of them with us that you just had on your notebook that I didn't get around to doing album 15? It would have been called this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason I don't use the titles that I don't use is because they're not very good. I do have a list somewhere. I don't remember off the top of my head, like, some of the unused ideas. I mean, some of them would be very specific, like, based on whatever was happening at the time, or a big hit song at the time. And I guess some were more generic, but, yeah, I would, if I had my computer in front of me, I would go down and give you some really bad examples, but there aren't any good ideas on that list.
Over here.
Thank you. You always include the source for the parody with your liner notes, and so it makes it easy to try and find out, which led to a very confused DJ getting a call from a 14-year-old me asking to hear Lola on the radio. But out of curiosity, is there any song, pop song or classic rock song that you've always wanted to be able to do a parody to that you just haven't had an idea?
Well, there are a lot of songs that I wish I could come up with a funny enough idea for that I just can't think of something that, passes my bar of quality. I mean, I can always think of a bad idea for, for a song parody, but there are many songs that don't, I can't think of a good enough idea for, and a lot of those songs wind up in the polka medley, because any song sounds better than as a polka. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of artists, a lot of classic rock artists that I, for whatever reason, I just never got around to. And I still can if I pair them with a contemporary subject matter, so I'm certainly not going to rule anybody out, but yeah, there's a lot of people I just haven't gotten around to yet.
Do you find along those lines that since you have such an intergenerational audience, I mean, you have fans from 8 to 80, do you find that with some of your younger fans, they don't know that some of your older songs are parodies? They think that they're your songs?
Yeah, and that's okay too, because when I write the parodies, they're supposed to be funny even if you're not familiar with the source material. And with a lot of kids, that's the case. I remember when The Saga Begins was a big hit on Radio Disney. You know, these kids weren't familiar with the 1970 Don McLean hit American Pie. They just thought, oh, this is a funny Weird Al song about Star Wars. And what was funny about that to me was the year after my parody came out, for whatever reason, Madonna decided to do a straight cover version of American Pie. And there are all these kids going, how come Madonna's doing an unfunny version of a Weird Al song?
We'll take one on this side, please. Jared, where are you at? Oh, he's up in the balcony. Okay, go ahead.
Al, sorry, just a second. Do you find more pleasure in kind of doing the polka parody like melodies, like live, or do you enjoy your original parody versions of songs?
So do I enjoy the polkas more, the parodies more? Is that the question?
Yes.
I don't see a reason to choose. They're both fun. They both have their own challenges, and they're both fun in their own way. The polkas are always fun to play live, and they're certainly a lot easier to write because the lyrics and the music are already done. So it's just an arranging job. I hate to choose one over the other because they're both very, very close to my heart.
We'll take one over here, please.
Hello to you, Mr. Weir.
Hello.
It's more of an answer, if you may. I just want to say thank you. I have learned much from you. Thank you, my teacher. I think you're more of not just a musician, but a voice actor as well, such as Tara Strong, Eric Balza, Jimmy Cummings, and I've seen you hear your voice so many times, such as The Simpsons twice, Teen Titans Go, Robot Chicken, my favorites, Milo Murphy, and you were in Milo Pony, Cheese Sandwich, and I had your little clucking comrade here, Rubber Goose, Rubber Chicken. And I do not mind or care if I don't get a picture from you. I just want to say thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
An interesting facet of your career that people may not be aware of. You have done a lot of voice acting recently. What do you enjoy about doing that?
I like voice acting because you don't have to memorize anything. You don't even have to comb your hair if you don't want to. You show up to the recording studio in your pajamas if you want to. No, it's just fun because it's a no stress kind of situation, or you just go and you have fun. And sometimes you do it by yourself, and sometimes you're doing it in a room with other voiceover actors. But it's always a good time, and the fact that I was able to achieve some popularity in my recording career has allowed me to do stuff that maybe I wouldn't have a chance to ordinarily. So I'm taking advantage of that because I really love doing voice acting work.
Is there a voice role that you were asked to do that you were surprised to be asked to do?
A couple times. Andre Romano is one of the top voiceover casting directors, and she had me do the voice of a doll maker in Batman vs. Robin, a DC direct-to-video feature. And that was a really scary, creepy, intense guy, which are adjectives that hopefully you don't normally associate with me. But it was a bit of a stretch. So it was kind of fun to play, because normally I play just a thinly veiled version of myself when I'm doing a lot of these cartoon voices. But this was, I would like to think, playing against type, doing the doll maker. So it was nice to be able to do something a little different.
Let's take one on this side, please.
Hello there. What was it like working with the guys at Epic Rap Battles of History?
Oh, those are great. Epic Lloyd and Nice Peter are some of the most epic and nice people I've ever worked with. No, I met Peter at a YouTube function years ago, and we got along really well, and we decided we should work together, and I always really appreciated the quality of the writing on Epic Rap Battles, and I was very happy to play Isaac Newton. And then Peter actually directed me when I did the thing for the Gregory Brothers, where I was intercut into the last debate with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. So it's always a pleasure to work with them because they just have such a high standard of quality, and they're they've got a great work ethic, and they're just super nice people.
We're ready on this side, please.
Hello, Al. Long-time fan. All right. In relation to parodies, have you had any artists get mad at you for fixing their songs?
Not really. No, I always get permission beforehand. There was a bit of a dust-up with Coolio back in the late 90s, which is well known among a lot of people. But he's fine now. There's no bad blood. Everything's cool. I don't know where that miscommunication came from. And like I said, other than that, artists usually look at it more as a badge of honor when they get the word out there.
Along those lines, who do you think had the best reaction to your parody of their?
Well, one of my favorites came from Chameleonaire. I did a parody of his song "Right," and one of the "White and Nerdy," and but the year that came out, I was at the Grammys, and Chameleonaire approached me on the red carpet, and he just won his Grammy for Rap Song of the Year. And he said, "I wanted to thank you because I think that your parody is a big reason why they gave me the Grammy for this song." It's a big Rap Song of the Year.
Jared, where are you? Let's take one from this other area. Okay, right.
Hi, I'm Dharma. For the weekend, I'm Chuck. Just on behalf of all the students who are aspiring to be musicians and actors in the future, we all know you're a little bit of a perfectionist, and every now and then, I'm sure you, as all creative people do, have ideas that seemed like they would rock out of the building at the time, and then they didn't. And do you ever have that moment where you go back and say, here's what I could have done differently, and what do you do about it?
Every album that I put out, after I put it out, I only hear the mistakes. I hear the things I could have done a little bit better, or hit that note a little stronger, or maybe I could use the word differently or something. So I like to say that with most artists, you never finish a project, you just abandon it. Because at some point it's just got to be done, which is why I like working with deadlines. But yeah, I mean, every album that I've ever done, everything I've ever done, I feel like it's not perfect, it could be a little bit better. And like, every now and then I have like the George Lucas impulse to re-record my entire first album, And then I think, no, just kind of let it live in its era. It's a product of its time, and let it just exist for what it was, and let people have their nostalgia about it, and move on.
Is that lack of deadlines that you have now that you've kind of abandoned the album format, is that something that's a challenge to you?
It's not a challenge. I mean, I've slowed down a bit. I mean, I haven't released a lot since my last album. I've had a few singles here and there, and that's okay. But yeah, I mean, not having deadlines looming over my head isn't really conducive to me, like putting out a lot of new material. But it's conducive for a happier life for me.
Over here.
Hi, I'm a big fan since I heard you play as Cheese Sandwich from My Little Pony. What inspired you to be Cheese Sandwich?
Well, they asked me to do it. No, I like My Little Pony, and one of the guys that does the music for the show, William Anderson, actually he used to play on the road with me. He used to be combination roadie, horn player, guitar player, background singer on our 1985 Stupid tour. And we've kept in contact over the years. He's done a lot of music for TV shows. In fact, he did some music for the Weird Al show in the late 90s. And when he started working with the My Little Pony people, he said, I think he probably suggested to them, like, you know, Al would be perfect for the show. And they agreed, and they asked me, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that.
We'll take one on this side now.
Your hair is amazing. How many artists wouldn't let you cover their songs?
How many?
Or which artists would like that song?
You know, I don't like to focus on the negative. Over the course of my whole life, I mean, just a small handful of artists. I mean, the one famously who's never let me do anything was Prince, which, you know, I poked fun at him over the years because, you know, why not? But yeah, he was the one guy that kind of got away. But and there's been a small handful again, but I'd say 98, 99% of the people that I approached have said yes.
Christian is in the back here.
Yes, forgive me, this might be the Twinkie Wiener Sandwich talking, but I just wanted to say, how do you get such amazing celebrity interviews?
Oh, for the fake interviews?
Yes.
A lot of those I got originally through Much Music, and those are really great interviews because for some reason when celebrities do interviews in Canada, they seem a little bit more relaxed. Like, nobody's going to be seeing this, you know? So they let their guards down more. So a lot of the fun interviews that I've gotten have been were through Much Music and through Canada. And then I think for the face-to-face interviews, I think those are through Collider. So we got most of our stuff through Collider, MTV, and VH1, and I just found the most ridiculous interviews and then just kind of tore them apart and had my way with them.
Speaking of Twinkie Wiener sandwiches, why?
Why Twinkie Wiener sandwiches? I don't know. I mean, when I was writing UHF, that just seemed like a pretty disgusting combination. For those of you that have never had a Twinkie Wiener sandwich, let me just say that it's not as bad as you'd think it would be. But having said that, it really isn't very good. I don't highly recommend it.
I think we've got Jared up at the balcony.
Hi, I was wondering if a lot of people like come up to you and pest you with parody ideas. Like, did it like annoy you? Be like, yeah, this would be such a great idea, and you're just like, ugh.
Yeah. I mean, that is sort of the bane of my existence. People like hold on to these ideas, like, oh, I've got this great idea for song parody that I had in the 3rd grade, and if I ever run into Weird Al, I'll have to tell him about it. And you know, for a number of reasons, I can't accept ideas. I've got more than enough crazy ideas on my own. I don't want anybody to think that they gave me the idea for some kind of hit song or whatever. So for legal, which is also the reason why there's a guy that goes through all my fan mail before I ever see it, pulling out the song parody suggestions. Just for legal reasons, we don't want people to do that. So I appreciate the thought, but try to restrain yourself from the parody suggestions.
You did a cameo appearance on How I Met Your Mother that kind of parodied that very thing.
Right.
Who's next? Over here.
Did you ever actually bid on Shatner's old toupee?
I never did, no. A piece of trivia, I probably shouldn't say this, but my actual next door neighbor, I think, probably made his toupee.
Sorry for all of you that saw William Shatner on this stage last year and didn't know that it was a toupee. We're on this side. Oh, it's still there. Okay, good.
So you've had a very, long established career. If someone was trying to, get into your stuff now, where would you start with?
Into my oeuvre, you mean? I don't know. Yeah, I like to think that I've got gotten better as time went on, and I think my last 7 albums are better than my first 7 albums. So I'd probably go in reverse chronological order and just start with the most recent stuff and kind of work your way back.
Chris, over here.
Hi, Al. Long-time watcher, first-time writing. So you're pretty high-tier celebrity, so I imagine it's really hard to be able to collaborate with you. So I'm sitting here wondering how the Game Grumps actually managed to get you to play a video game with them. How does that happen?
They just asked. I did an AMA on Reddit several years ago, and a few people, said, "When are you going to go on Game Grumps?" And I said, "Well, if they want me to go on, I'll go on. You just need to ask me." And then 3 years later, they asked me, and I did, and it was really fun. I mean, I'd never met those guys before, but almost immediately I felt like we were best friends, just kind of hanging out, playing video games. So it was really cool. I really enjoyed that. It was nice.
Okay, on this side, George, you stole the balcony, or I can't see it. Oh, okay.
Hi, big time fan. I actually wrote a paper on fat when I was in school, and I was just wondering, when you do music videos, is there one in particular that you just had a lot of fun doing?
They're all fun and they're all stressful because when I'm directing, I need to be in charge and make sure that there's, because there's money flying out the window every minute when you're like on set. So it's stressful. So you try to remind yourself to have fun because otherwise you're just stressed out. White Nerdy was a fun one to do, but that was a lot of moving pieces and a lot of stuff to coordinate. The one that was the most pure fun for me was probably Tacky because that was the simplest one. That was literally like me and 5 of my friends, like doing this one-take thing, and it was complicated for the camera guy because he had to walk backwards through a 5-story building and keep the action in frame. But for everybody else, we're just having fun, and we shot for like maybe 2 hours. And then we were done, and I was sort of like, well, we've got it, but I mean, I don't keep shooting, this is really fun. But we were done, and everyone went home, and that was all there was to it. I mean, I got to work with Jack Black, Anisha Tyler, Kristen Shaw, Margaret Cho, Eric Stonestreet, and they, it was just fun.
Now, is that process a little easier when you're not directing yourself? Because you've directed videos for a number of other artists as well.
Yeah, it's, if somebody else is directing, then I don't have to worry about anything. I just go there and enjoy it. Like I did the Weezer video. I didn't direct that, but they had me come and play Rivers Cuomo. And that, I like directing too, but it's kind of fun to let somebody else worry about all the details. You just show up and just have a goofy time.
Over here, please.
Hi Al, great to speak to you. Let's address the elephant in the room. When are we getting Weird Al Yankovic at the Super Bowl?
It's going to surprise you, but it's not up to me. And I somehow don't think I'm ever going to be on the NFL's shortlist, but prove me wrong.
Well, it has been a movement for a number of years now. There have been petitions and viral and the whole night. You'd think at some point maybe they might listen, maybe?
I think not, but I appreciate the support. I mean, I just like the fact that there are people out there trying to make it happen, even though it's probably a lost cause.
Okay, we're going to be on this side.
Is there only one Harvey the Wonder hamster?
Oh yes.
Okay.
All these years it's the same hamster.
Christina, on this side.
Is it true that you don't like sauerkraut?
The question was, is it true that I don't like sauerkraut? Because of my song Albuquerque, I very specifically point out the fact that I don't like sauerkraut. I want to say now for the record, I do like sauerkraut, and that is the only thing in Albuquerque that's not true.
Okay, I think
we're on this side now? No, we're on this side. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jared.
Hi, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
In your song Hardware Store, how many takes did it take to do that very long list of items?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm giving away a trade secret here, but I don't think I did that all in one take. That was probably I'm guessing pieced together. In the studio, I tend to do stuff over and over and over and over and over again. So I can't tell you how many takes were done, but it was certainly not one take.
Around the side.
Hello, right here. I'm a huge fan of Bojack Horseman, so I just wanted to know how it was playing Captain Peanut Butter, and what did you think of the show when you first read the script?
I was a big Bojack Horseman fan. I just binged the first 2 seasons, and I emailed Aaron Paul, who's one of the executive producers on the show and one of the voices, and he also played me in the Funny or Die video Weird Al Yankovic story. So I was friends with Aaron, and I just basically wrote him a fan email and said, hey, just watched the first 2 seasons of the Bojack Horseman, and I just said, man, it's one of my favorite new shows. You really knocked it out of the park. And he said, oh, yeah, well, you should get on this show. And I said, yes, I should. So they wrote me into it. So I played Captain Peanut Butter, Mr. Peanut Butter's brother. That was also a fun thing to do because it was playing a little against type. It was sort of an intense role. The character is maybe dying, maybe not. And so it was a fun role to do, and I was a big fan of the show before I was even asked to be on it.
We're back on this side.
Hey Al, I wanted to say thank you for all those beatings I took growing up listening to your music.
Sorry.
I wanted to say the vindication is true. My 16-year-old came up to me the other day and said, Dad, have you ever heard of this guy, Weird Al? But what I really wanted to say was thank you for leading the life that you've led and being the icon that you are. You haven't brought any drama or any negativity to the icon that was you. I mean, that is Weird Al Yankovic, and so many of us have spent most of our lives learning your songs and laughing and driving and doing everything that we've led our lives to do. You never ever brought disgrace or shame or drama or drugs or alcohol or any of that stuff. And I wanted to say
yes.
The other day, and she was talking about how the Behind the Music on the Go-Go's kind of focused a lot on the negative, and she expected that. The other band members were a little disappointed with it. But when they did Behind the Music on You, they had a bit of a struggle finding anything to do the whole downward spiral portion.
Right, yeah, that was sort of the joke of my Behind the Music, because like at 35 minutes into it, there's always an arc, and then things went horribly wrong, you know? And they really tried to find some kind of angle for it, and they didn't, so they had me doing a thing where I was like, and then my 4th album didn't go platinum. I had to buy the medium-sized jacuzzi.
My question is, I guess, for the song Pokemon, which premiered in the 2nd movie, was it difficult to memorize all the names? Were you a fan previously, or did you just have to memorize all the names when they contacted you?
Well, here's the thing about recording something in the studio. You don't have to memorize anything, because they have a lyric sheet that you can look at while you're singing. So, no, it was, I don't think I ever performed that song live, so it was only in the studio, so memorization wasn't even a factor. I could have, I'm sure, but I didn't need to.
We're back to this side.
Why did you write Milo Murphy's Law?
Well, I didn't actually write Milo Murphy's Law. That was written Well, written by a lot of people, created by the creators of Phineas and Ferb, Dan Povenmire and Jeff Swampy Marsh. They asked me to be Milo Murphy in Milo Murphy's Law. So somebody else does all the hard work on that show, and I come in and I just do the voice. We've done 2 seasons so far. We may or may not be doing more. I still don't know. That it's not been canceled. It has not been picked up. They are just waiting for some glaciers to show up in North America. I don't know what they're waiting for. But we'll see. It's on Disney Plus right now, and I had a great time doing it. Dan and Swampy are like extremely cool and funny people, and we'll see what happens.
Over here, please.
First off, I just wanted to thank you for Straight Outta Linwood essentially being the soundtrack of my senior year of high school, the whole album. But my question was in regards to, you've done TV, you've done movies, you've done music obviously. The one arena that you have not thrown your hat into is musical theater. When are we getting Weird Al the musical?
There's nothing currently in the works. That is a bucket list item for sure. I've mentioned this before. Before Hamilton came out, Lin-Manuel Miranda and I were hanging around my house going like, we should write a musical together. We should do something together. And it still may happen at some point, or I may do something on my own, or something else may come up. But yeah, I've been pondering that possibility for a while, and nothing concrete has happened yet, but I'd like to think sometime in the next 40 to 50 years I'll get that going.
When you think about something like that, do you think of going more the semi-autobiographical route, or the whole just jukebox, the tunes go to a story that's an original story?
I mean, if somebody else wants to do a jukebox musical with my stuff, they're free to. I think if I were to do something, it would be something completely original.
Over here on this side.
Okay, the little girl up there, got you to answer my question, so I got another one for you.
Okay.
Out of everything that you've done, what was your most favorite thing that you have done today?
Oh man, well, I get asked variations of that question a lot. There's no real answer to that. My stock answer is my last album is always my favorite album or my best album. White Dirty is my biggest selling single, so I would have to maybe put that up there. I feel closer to a lot of my original material than I do to the parodies, but I mean, it's really hard for me to, there's no real serious answer to that because I fall in love with each song as I'm writing it, and then I kind of move on to the next thing. What's your favorite? I don't know. Okay, let's go with that one.
Where are we at on this side? Oh, here we go.
Why did they call you Weird Al?
It's because my name used to be Alfred, and they shortened it to Al.
All right, where's Jared with the next question?
So I have a question about the song Foil and the end of like the quarter of Foil where everything turned on like the Illuminati and stuff.
I'm sorry, the end of Foil or what?
Can you explain what the Illuminati thing was about?
I don't know if I'd explain what it's about. I'm not in the Illuminati. I'm not allowed to explain it. No, it's just, I just wanted the song to take a real hard turn right in the middle, because the first half of the song, I think, oh, it's just another dumb Weird Al song about food. And then it just gets real bizarre. So yeah, I just put together a lot of Illuminati-like things that I found on the internet and kind of crammed them all together. And I can't pretend to understand what any of it actually means, but I'm sure it all means something.
Why is food such a frequent topic for you?
It was a big thing when I was starting out because I think I was probably a starving artist. And so thought a lot about food, and it's nice because, you know, I've written so many songs about food that now whenever I go grocery shopping, it's all a tax write-off. Back here.
Have you ever, I know a lot of your music is very child-friendly, and it's really appreciated that it's open to everyone. But has there ever been like a song that you kind of wanted to make a little bit more explicit in some way, or maybe a word, the swear word you wanted to use in there that you kind of kept out?
Not really. I mean, I don't tend to write that way. I mean, there are certainly songs, even though my material falls under the greater umbrella of family friendly, I mean, a lot of my songs get really dark and twisted. And it really kind of goes into some weird areas. But yeah, I mean, nothing too blue. I mean, there's not like a treasure trove of like X-rated Weird Al songs from the balls or anything like that. No, that's just kind of not the way that my brain's wired.
That was a little bit of an issue for you during like the early download era, where there'd be a lot of things that were put up on Napster and services like that were other people saying that it was your stuff that wasn't your stuff.
Yeah, I got a lot of angry letters from mom saying, "We're never listening to your trash music again," because it's something they illegally downloaded on like Napster or LimeWire or something like that. And I have to say, well, you illegally downloaded somebody else's song, so sorry, I'm not as pious as you.
Did that inspire Don't Download the Song?
That was inspired by a lot of my lawyer was sending me a bunch of like grandpa email, you know, forward, like, you know, something to brighten your day. Like, no, don't fill my inbox with this stuff. So I collected all those, and that inspired that particular song.
Over here.
So with all the biopics that are coming out, when is yours coming out, and who do you want to actually have play you? And I'm available just soon.
Well, you know, a lot of people are wondering if I should ever make that Funny or Die video starring Aaron Paul into a real movie, and it's something that's not out of consideration. We're pondering that.
I think we're in the back here with the next one.
Hey Al, longtime fan here. Thanks for coming to Pensacola, Florida.
Thank you.
I had a quick question for you. So looking forward across the new artists that are coming out here, either in your medium or in your idiom or not, which is the most exciting for yours?
Wait, I'm sorry, say the beginning.
Who are the artists that excite you today? Either in your medium.
Well, you're exciting me right now. I'm just excited to be here in a room with all you guys. This is what
Well, I think I've heard in the past that when you do your style parodies, which may be something people are a little less familiar with, that tends to be artists that you're in particular a fan of. I know you've done style parodies of bands like They Might Be Giants and the Pixies and R.E.M. So is that, do you tend to go to bands you really love?
Yeah, for the pastiches and the style parodies. I mean, it doesn't need to be that way, but I mean, they're really labors of love, because when I do those, I study an artist's entire body of work and I really pick it apart. And I tend to like gravitate towards artists that I really have an affinity towards, as opposed to ones that would drive me crazy. So yeah, almost without exception, those whenever I do a pastiche, is because I really enjoy the artist and I want to kind of put on their skin, metaphorically.
Right. Okay, now I guess Christina's next. I'm back here. So.
Hi, my wife and I are huge fans of Gallivant. We rewatch it all the time. What was it like working on that? I saw you were a producer. I've heard that producers don't really do anything. But you also acted in it, so I'd love to know what your role was in that and what the experience was like.
If I was a producer on that show, nobody told me. So, but no, I was asked to be on the show, and that was really a blast. That was such a fun show to do. I'm so amazed that it actually got on network TV, because it was just so bizarre. It was so niche. It was something that I would love to watch. But it was amazing to me that that got greenlit and they were able to afford to actually put that on the air. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We shot that in England, like not on a backstage in LA. That was like, no, we're actually shooting in real like 12th century castles and abbeys and things like that. And it was an amazing thing to do. I recorded my audio for the song in Peter Gabriel's home studio there in England. It was a pretty cool thing to be able to do. I wish they were making more seasons of it. It was really great.
We are unfortunately just about out of time, but before we close, I want to ask you one question. I mentioned before we came out on the stage, I actually interviewed you about 20 years ago, right around the time The Saga Begins came about. At that time, you told me you thought about once every 20 years was a good timing for a Star Wars song. So, are we due?
It's been brought up to me that I said that. And here's the thing, I mean, you know, I'm tempted, but for the same reason that I decided not to do like a third Michael Jackson parody, it's like, I've already got 2 Star Wars themed songs that are big hits, and which I normally play every show, and if I were to do a third Star Wars song, it kind of becomes like Weird Al Star Wars show. It just feels like it's a bit too much, so for that reason mostly, I'm tending to shy away from it, but I appreciate the interest. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big hand to Weird Al Yankovic.